topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. I tell you what, the bad thing is we've just had a horrible storm here, and I didn't even realize that the electricity went out, and we are getting a late start. Thank God I've got battery use on my laptop here. We want to welcome you. This is the Ask the Expert show. We're with you every Friday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. Today's show is brought to you by Autumn Oak Speech, Voice, Hearing, and Balance with Dr. Michelle Saltarelli. Anyway, we have, listen, if you're having tax problems, if you're having problems with the IRS, do not try to handle it yourself. We have got the top tax resolution company in the state of Texas. And actually, they go out even further than that. Let me welcome you to Mr. Barry Fowler. Thank you, Barry, for waking us up.
Hey, Steve, how are you today?
Well, we're having a horrible storm here, and I didn't realize that electricity went out, and so all of our clocks are wrong here. But hey, let's get started with the show. Barry, you're actually the president and founder of Taxation Solutions, Inc. You're what's called an enrolled agent, and you're going to explain to everybody what that means. You're licensed to represent taxpayers before the Internal Revenue Service. And I got to tell you, Barry, we've been doing this for a long time together, and without a doubt, you are the best of the best when it comes to going up against the IRS. And Barry, how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, man, I've been doing this since I've been knee-high to a grasshopper, and I don't want to say how old that is because I just had one of those repeating birthdays, just last week. So, yeah, I've been in this industry, since, let's say, early 90s, and I've been fighting against the IRS consistently, trying to save every taxpayer that owes the IRS or going through an IRS problem, whether it's a IRS audit, whether they just didn't file their taxes, or it's that god awful debt, because it's a snowball effect. Once you start down that path, it continues to grow. And you need representation. And that's what we're here to do, is to help you through every step of the IRS and save you from, their clutches.
I want to tell everybody, because this is such a great show, that the show is going to be running, I guess, short today, but I'm going to see if I can twist Barry's arm to come back on again next week and do this again. Hopefully he can do it again with us, because live is so much better than tape. Barry, you've literally helped thousands of people resolve their complex tax issues with the IRS.
Oh yeah, and it's something we enjoy. Being in this industry, it's it gets complicated because they have all these new IRS agents that don't know what they're doing, and they're trying to collect money from people that don't have it, or even people that do have it, and they're just not giving them the chance and following the procedures. And that's what we're here to do, is protect those taxpayers and protect their rights. Everybody has a right to representation, and that includes against the IRS, and that's where we come in. You mentioned I'm an enrolled agent, and so what that is, it is actually licensed by the U.S. Department of Treasury to represent taxpayers to the highest level of the IRS, and that's what we do. We had to go through and be tested, then we had to go FBI background checks, all that just to be able to get our license. And then we have to do at least because of the associations I belong to, I've got to do at least 30 hours of continuing education every year. So we're always staying on top of whatever the new tax laws are. We're working on new ways to fight against the IRS and to save the taxpayers. Just the other week, we saved somebody $70,000 worth of penalties. We got them removed so that we can at least start addressing just the taxes that they owe and not just all the taxes and the penalties. So we needed to give them every opportunity to get right and get straight. So, that's the things that we do, for people. And we tell them all the time up front, sometimes we've got to do an analysis and say, the IRS is saying you owe 70, 80, 50, whatever that number happens to be, $1 million. We need to do a tax analysis and find out why. What was going on? Why are they claiming that you owe this money? They could be wrong. Maybe you don't owe anything at all. And we find simple ways to solve that problem instead of going through every single procedure and billing, for the big things that we do. We can sometimes do things a little bit simpler. And that's what we're always here to do, is to find the best way out for every taxpayer. And not everybody's solution is exactly the same. But no matter what you hear from people you talk to, when you call some of these other companies, they'll sell you everything and anything you want to hear because you want the pipe dream. You want everything to go away and be forgiven because you heard it on a commercial. Not everybody can get that. We want to walk you through it. We want to tell you, hey, this is what can actually be done, because we know the ins and outs of the IRS. We know what the rules are. And, we want to get it done the best way for you, not for what your brother did or your sister did or your friend, or, hey, you get that truck stop bookkeeping, truck stop taxes. A guy at the truck stop told you, hey, I could get this thing done. I got mine done. Just got to do this. It doesn't make it right. It's, it's one of those things that if you're listening to everybody else out there, you actually need to call us. And we have that great toll-free line, 877-996-6477. You can call us, talk to us. It's a free conversation, free consultation. We just want to get you started in the right direction. Even if you don't use us, we want to get you started going down the right path.
Barry, I thought about you today. I was listening to the news, and there's now going to be 80,000 agents who will be authorized to carry a gun. Why they have to tell us that, I don't know. But is this going to change your way of doing business?
Yeah, we bought a few more guns ourselves just in case. It changes the way we do business, because now we've got to teach these new agents what the actual ins and outs and the rules of the IRS are. And funny story I have, they've already started hiring these agents, and I'm working on an offer and compromise for an older gentleman who, every single way you can look at it, he qualifies, should have this. It should be a slam dunk. Yes, he owes, $350,000, something like that. And we're settling for a very small amount. I think it's about $10,000. And, the amazing part is I'm working with a brand new offer examiner who had no clue what he was doing. And I'm having to tell him his job. You got to do this. You've got to look at this. You've got to walk it down this way. Once we get done and you approve it, you actually have to take it to your manager and get his approval. And then you have to send it to the IRS counsel for their approval. And he's like, well, nobody's told me that. So what do I do? Well, fill out this form, go take it to your manager and get it done. This started with this new agent back in October, or actually it was September. By the time he got it, was going to supposedly go to his manager, was in 1st of December. I'm calling at the end of December, still hadn't done it. But he's going on vacation because he has a right to vacation. So he's taken the last 2 weeks off of the year. His manager's taken the first week off, plus the last 2 weeks of December. So his offer doesn't get out to council until late January. And we're still waiting on approval. Oh, it's been approved. Now it's sitting on the manager's desk. It's just going to make
it done, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get done, but it's just, instead of being done in a reasonable and a fast pace, we're back at snail pace, and it's not COVID related. It's just brand new revenue officers and offer examiners that are going to take their time and be really slow.
Unbelievable. But, this show is about education. And sometimes it might sound like that we're trying to scare you a little bit. Listen, trust me, I went through this with my best friend where he put the envelopes that came from the IRS in the drawer thinking they were going to go away. And they don't go away, do they, Barry?
No. Matter of fact, you can even use that little circular file that's around the floor that has a bag in it. Or you can use the shredder at the office. These don't go away. I mean, the letter goes away because you throw it in the trash or you throw it in the drawer. It's sight unseen. The problem doesn't go away. People ask me, hey, what's your best advice for dealing with this? Can I just do it on my own? Yeah, you can. I'll be honest. You can go out there and do it on your own. Do I advise it? No, I don't. If it's a small amount and you can afford to pay it, yes. If it's a small amount, yes, it's probably easier and better for you to do it. But if it becomes a large amount, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $1 million, whatever it is, get help. Get an expert on your side to help you through it. Because, here's what we tell people is you start talking to the revenue officer, you tell him things, I can't change it. You say, I have this much in the bank, even though you don't, or you may today, but it's going to meet your bills and everything else. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, you have nothing left, but you did tell them you had 5,000 or 7,000. They want that money.
Yeah.
I can't change that. You tell them certain things out there about your life and we can't change it. We can't fix it. It becomes almost like gospel to that revenue officer that you said it, it has to be true. And then it becomes our job to try to prove that it isn't true, our job to jump through the hoops to fix it, and it becomes more of a nightmare. I mean, you can go out there if you want to do a payment plan or even offer, you can fill out the forms 433A, forms 433B, the 656 for the offer and compromise. All those forms are available. All the instructions are there on the IRS website, and you can study them hours on end to try to get it perfect. But when you screw it up, then it takes more of our time, more to fix it than it's something we could do up front. But, don't let people scare you into, hey, an offer and compromise, you've got to do it this way or you got to do it that way. Let's talk about it. I mean, even if you reached out to one of those other big companies out there, pick up the phone and call us. I'm not afraid to talk to you. My guys are not afraid to talk to you and tell you, hey, this is what it is. You may not like the answer. You may go through and back to them and stay with who you're going to think you're going to use. But just remember, usually 99.9999% of the time, we're right. If we tell you can't qualify for an offer and compromise, you're not going to qualify for an offer and compromise because you have too much in assets, too much income, too much in your 401k.
We're running your phone number and your website address, but for those who are listening on radio, give everybody your phone number and your website address.
All right. Website is taxationsolutions.net, and that's taxationsolutions.net. And the phone number, hey, and if it's, local, long distance, anywhere in the country, we deal with people, friends, family, give them the phone number, 877-996-6477. Again, that's 877-996-6477. Toll-free number, free consultation. Let us talk to you. Let us talk about what's going on. And let's figure out the best solution for you, even if it means we got to start with the tax analysis.
Well, hopefully I can get Barry to come back on. He's going to be on next month, but hopefully I can get him to come on next week. We'll talk about that and make up for time lost. Barry, thank you so much.
Steve-O, it's great. Yes, if you got time for me, I'll come on to make time to talk to people. And I love these shows. I love working with you and working with Ask the Experts. I mean, this is fantastic. It's a great way to get information out to people and help people, not just here in Houston or in Texas, but all across the country. You can share the podcast.
Mail, Barry. We'll see you next weekend.
All right. Thanks, Steve-O.
So much. And we're going to be going on to our next show, which is our hearing loss, which is, I got to tell you, these folks are so amazing. What Michelle does. I think she should be there.
I'm
Michelle,
here.
are you there?
Hey,
Michelle.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Well, we had a power outage, and I guess it was for about 10 minutes. So we've been running a little bit behind, but I got to tell the people out there, without Autumn Oak speech, voice, hearing, and balance, there might not even be another Ask the Expert show. They sponsor the show. They are our title sponsor. They can be reached at 281-816-3067. And today we're going to talk about dizziness, vertigo, and balance, which great topics, Michelle, you chose for today.
Yes. So there's a lot of us living with dizziness that we probably don't even need to be living with if we get just the appropriate assessment and treatment. So, and the older we get, it seems to be an issue.
Well, before we get started, Michelle, tell everybody about your practice.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So we're in Friendswood. And so we have two clinics. The audiology side is we do hearing aids, cochlear implants, and balance and vestibular testing. We see dizzy patients. Across the street, we have the rehab. We just added lactation. So we do lactation counseling, because there is a team of SLPs that do feeding therapy, and they're true feeding specialists. They got certified in that recently. And then your typical speech pathology services for swallowing, cognition, and just speech and language, whether you're an adult or a child. We see all ages. And next month, we'll be bringing on physical therapy. We'll be partnering with a physical therapist. So Polygon Physical Therapy will be in-house, and we'll be able to help and reach more people that way. So we're just growing and helping Michelle, as much as we can.
Why don't you just get a 4-story building, have it all in one place?
Right. Yes. No, that's okay, because that 4-story building comes with a big bill. So no, yes. That's okay though. So that's why we're partnering with the PTs and not necessarily hiring them on. So we're just to offer multiple disciplines under one roof.
So first of all, I've got to go to vertigo first, Michelle, because there's a lot of people that have vertigo that don't even realize it, and they don't even understand what vertigo is. So please explain to them.
Okay, so most people will think like vertigo is like dizziness, and they actually are two different things. So dizziness has to do with like the lightheadedness, feeling a little bit off, whereas vertigo is that true sensation of you're spinning or the room is spinning and you see it spinning. So that's the vertigo that and the dizziness and imbalance. So those types of symptoms are that differentiates between if you're experiencing dizziness or if you're experiencing vertigo. The spinning is the key.
What causes vertigo?
There are multiple causes. So like, blood pressure, things like that. But vertigo that continues, that comes in episode, or you feel like it's just constantly there. A lot of times, like what I see in the clinic is there's different disorders, like Meniere's disease can cause that. Benign proximal positional vertigo, which is the crystals in your ears. You heard people say the crystals kind of got loose and causing this dizziness. That's another one that's pretty common, as well as migraines. Sometimes migraineurs, sometimes they don't even realize that is how the migraine is manifesting. So it may be a variant different type of vertigo, but it's related to migraines. So those are our main disorders that we see here at the clinic, or or if it's ear related, inner ear related, vestibulopathy, meaning that like you have this unsteadiness, and especially like when you're walking or bending over, but especially when like the lights are off, man, you take out the vision, then it's like, whoa. So yeah, those are typically those are what we see in the clinic here.
Now, when it comes to balance, is that because I have problems with balance. I've noticed as I get older.
Yes.
Does age have anything to do with that?
Yes, absolutely. So it's, dizziness is in the general population, but the older we get, the more at risk we are like balance disorders or falls. It's quite just the older we get. And that's a combination of just as we age and maybe muscle, just our body in general, but also possibly some of us are on like what they call polypharma, where we are on all these different medications. Maybe it's part of that. Who knows? But
Ooh.
Yeah, but yes, the older we get, the more susceptible we are to imbalance and dizziness and vertigo.
Michelle, you always hear about, and I got to tell our viewers and our listeners, Michelle is one of those kind of people that really cares about her patients. It's not all about the money with her. She really does care. She's got such a big heart. And, when I start talking about balance, Michelle, I mean, you hear about people falling in the shower, breaking a hip, and
I know. Yes.
What can be done to maintain balance?
Right. So just to give you an idea, so like let's, when I see the patients come in through the clinic and we diagnose and we figure out what's causing the vertigo, the imbalance, or whatever it is, a lot of times medication will help. Other times it'll be a combination of medication and rehabilitation. But most of the time, like I'm referring to either balance retraining therapy with the physical therapist, or vestibular rehab therapy or rehabilitation therapy. Because what we're trying to do, if it's something with the inner ear and for whatever reason, that inner ear that houses the balance system, because that's our major organ of balance is in the inner ear. If that is wiped out, then you have two other systems, meaning your eyes and like the feelings in your joints. Like that gives your brain information of like where you are, if you're on a steady surface like concrete, or are you stepping into sand? Because like you have to make those judgments when you're walking. I'm about to step in sand. I'm probably going to sink a little bit. Let me get prepared. Like that's an instant type of thought. Like we don't even think about it. It's like so subconscious. But when those balance problems and dizziness problems arise, that's a lot of thought, and you're actively thinking on those types of transitions. So typically it's one of those three, if not combination of all three, just the rehab, balance retraining, and the vestibular rehabilitation therapy.
So when a person, say, is in their 60s or 70s, do they have a different type dizziness or vertigo than a person who's in their 20s or 30s?
No, it could be exactly the same. In the clinic, we see they're at just higher risk for like vestibulopathy and that stuff. But no, I have tested teenagers and kids here that have issues with vertigo and dizziness. So, but more than likely it's going to be my older population with like the vestibulopathy and like some reason that balance system is just not working as well. I mean, there are just these viruses that come in, and if they can wipe out your hearing, but and for other people, it can kind of it will wipe out your balance system if it attacks it. So to a certain degree, whether it's reduced or just totally absent. So yeah, there's just.
What's the difference in dizziness and vertigo?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What's the difference between dizziness and vertigo?
Oh, it's the dizziness part is that lightheaded feeling. It's that kind of like just the lightheaded feeling. The vertigo, the main thing is going to be spinning. People will tell me that they're spinning, the room is spinning, and they'll see it. And like this then you'll see it in their eyes. They'll even feel it with their eyes. They'll tell me their eyes are going all kind of crazy. And it's the nystagmus. It's that shaking, the eyes, shaking back and forth, up and down, or whatever way. But the eyes are moving in very quick, rapid motion as well. And I feel it. That's vertigo.
I got to tell you that it is so important. Let's just use dizziness first of all. There's a lot of fall risk involved with that.
Yes, exactly. Like, yes, I mean, I actually am doing the stats on it now. So for the fall risk with somebody with vertigo, and I have it pulled up on my computer. With vertigo, let's see, with vestibular dysfunction, it's 12 times. You're 12 times more likely to fall if you have some kind of dizziness or some kind of dysfunction in your balance or with dizziness and vertigo. So that's it's a high risk there. And unfortunately, like instead of going, like I would recommend if you're having these kind of symptoms, let us do a comprehensive eval. We are the most comprehensive besides the hospital systems. So we have all the equipment here, hence it's what all this stuff is right there, like all my chair and everything and all my stuff to do. But falling.
Can you get rid of it, Michelle? Can you get rid of the dizziness and the vertigo?
Yes. So what we do is if you do PT, like physical therapy, if you're recommended physical therapy, what happens is they do a substitution protocol, which means that they fine tune the eyes and the information you get from your joints to take over and substitute for the part that is causing that imbalance. It's just the information. If you could think of it this way, the information that the ears are giving the brain about where you are in space is inaccurate. It's inaccurate compared to what the eyes are saying and the joints are saying. So when one of those three systems is not giving the brain the right information or accurate information that agrees with the other two, that's when the vertigo and all this stuff happens. So if with physical therapy, you can get there quickly or quicker when you get that kind of treatment, and those symptoms will subside.
What do you tell a patient that drove to your office that they have vertigo or dizziness?
Well, they know. Typically, the ones that drive to my office, they're like able to do so. People are pretty responsible. I haven't seen anybody that I've told, like, I need you to go home with somebody to pick you up. I haven't had that experience yet. But the people with the vertigo, that it might happen any minute and they're just not sure because it's episodic, they typically are driven by somebody, or the constant, like very unsteady, but a lot of times it's very unsteady on your feet, walking up, bending over, that type of stuff. So yeah, I haven't had anybody where it was unsafe for them to leave.
Tell us about the tests that you run for dizziness and vertigo.
Sure, absolutely. So like the first thing is, like, one of the first things I do is I'll lay you on my mat and I'll have you rest, and I'll put electrodes on your neck and and on your forehead and under your eyes. And what I'm trying to do is actually read what these muscles are telling, what information the muscles are giving to the brain, and just kind of get some what they call evoked potentials. I'm just trying to see what the muscles are saying and what they're doing and what's happening there. So that's the first thing that I do. I do a few tests, and you're going to hear things in your ears. After that, I put you in my chair, and that's when you're going to follow. It's called ocular motor test. And then we do where you follow this dot across the screen and just keep an eye on your eye movement and what your eye muscles are saying. And then in addition to that, we do different positions. We do different postures with your eyes open, postures with your eyes closed, and then various maneuvers of like quick motions, like with your head, because, when gravity affects the dizziness, then more than likely it's probably like the BPPV, a type of vertigo like that, benign proximal positional vertigo. It's the gravity that makes those crystals move around in the ear. And so we'll do those types of maneuvers, just trying to figure out what type of vertigo we're doing. And the last thing is, I've been doing this last test since I was in school, but we do calorics. It's called calorics. Like I push cool and warm air into each ear canal to see if we do have something at the ear level that is off. Which ear is it? Yeah. But yeah.
Do people get nauseated that have dizziness or vertigo?
Absolutely. So they'll have the typical nausea. I haven't had anyone so far, which is interesting, anyone get sick in the office, but I do have, those bags just in case, because there are certain tests that I'll put you in a chair and the chair turns, not very fast, but it turns. So
Well, I guess the good thing, Michelle, first of all, is that there is a cure for this. It's not something you have to live with for the rest of your life.
Right. It's treatment. Absolutely. And we can help. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. Thanks. And there's treatment, and you don't have to live with it. There is that spontaneous recovery, like your body will try to naturally heal itself, but that can take a long time. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Are you allergic to the TV show?
I know. I don't know what's going on. I went out for lunch. Now I'm back inside, so I don't know. Maybe something outside. It's getting to me
You'll
now.
have an allergy department soon.
Right. I know. Excuse me. But yes, and the other stuff I wanted to share, this is kind of off topic, and I wanted to share it last show, but I want people to know, like, there are, to know their rights and their benefits. So if you have a child that's 18, I want to say child, probably 18 years or less than 18 years old, the state law of Texas requires your health insurance to help you purchase a pair of hearing aids or that hearing aid. Like, you need to have, and you should have, some coverage. So remember this: if this is for your child and you need hearing aids, and your insurance plan says, nope, we don't cover that. Nope. By law, they need to help contribute to the purchase of those aids. So that's something for people to be aware of. There's not a lot of people that know this. And then the other thing is, if with the state of Texas, as long as you're a Texas citizen, they have the STAP program. And this is where it's let me make sure I say it right. I call it STAP, but it stands for the Specialized Telecommunications Assistance Program. And this is like a fund for people with either cognitive disorders, speech impairments, or thirdly, or hearing impairments. But this funded program, if one diagnoses, then you get a smartphone, or an iPad or something like that, one of those types of communication devices. So as long as you have your doctor, certify that, yes, you are diagnosed with hearing loss or speech impairment or cognitive impairment. So these are things that are available to us as Texans.
I am so glad you brought that up because I just found out, and I don't know why they didn't tell me about it, but I'm with Humana,
Mm-hmm.
and we now have a 25. We get it's like a credit card. It's got $2,500 on that can be used for a hearing aid or eyeglasses, and I thought that was so important because there's a lot of people living, especially older people, who are living on a fixed income, and
Absolutely.
that is, people should check because I think sometimes, Michelle, people do not go for the hearing aid. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're
No, they're
not
not.
expensive, and I think some people don't have it done because they don't feel like they can afford it. And it looks like a lot of the insurance companies are going to this flex type card now.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, as long as we're like our clinic, as long as the clinic is a medical based clinic and the credit card machine knows to run it like that, we can take all those kind of cards for payment to help you towards your purchase. Yeah, absolutely. There is assistance and stuff out there. I mean, there's even like foundations that they'll give, you just have to qualify, but they'll give you a pair of hearing aids for free as long as you qualify for it, and to help out people that are of lower income. You just have to, like I said, they'll want to know all your business. So as long as you qualify, but there are ways, to help yourself. And I think insurance, because I know I'm sharing this now because one of my patients is fighting, and I don't think it's fighting. I think like, oh, no, insurance, my child needs a pair of hearing aids. By law, you're required to help me. And so like they are having that conversation right now. And, they help with the state of Texas. They'll give $1,000 towards that purchase.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
And they
that's
should.
helpful. Absolutely. That's very helpful. And, yeah, and like here at this clinic, what we do is finance thing. We do a lease program or a finance program where, it's $185 a month, and you get all your treatment, and you get your hearing aids and everything like that. So, and it's a lower monthly payment because it's expensive. I mean, yes, absolutely, it's not. So we try to make it more affordable, and they don't have to go to their bank and pull out thousands of dollars at one time.
Well, they sure don't promote it, Michelle. That's what I was upset about. I mean, to learn that, hey, I've got $2,500 on a credit card that I knew nothing about, and I found out I was getting eyeglasses.
Yeah.
So, if you're talking about people who might be in a age category demographic, an older demographic that lives on a fixed income, I think that they should talk to Medicare, because Medicare is the one that is sponsoring mine. But you know what? I think that's probably the greatest advice that you just gave our listening and viewing audience is about the insurance.
Yes, know your insurance, and don't be afraid. Like, if you know that, and check your insurance. I mean, I'm a medical reviewer too, so I've done several reviews this month of people that are like, they're denying insurance, and I'm glad, and it's behoove that family to say, you know what, I don't think that's right. I want you to get a peer review so that they can explain why this is all medically necessary. So I'm the audiologist and I'm the speech pathologist going through somebody else, another audiologist, another speech pathologist notes to make sure and to explain to the insurance company, this is medically appropriate.
Michelle, the people who are listening on radio cannot see we've been running your phone number on the TV version. Give everybody your phone number at the office.
Sure. So the clinic's number is 281-816-3067. Option 2 for the rehab unit. Option 3 for the audiology clinic in Balance.
Michelle, you give out the best information. We are so blessed to have you. Michelle will be back with us again next month. They sponsored the show, all the shows throughout Ask the Experts. Michelle, we love you.
Yeah,
Thank
love
you
you
so
too.
much.
Take care. Have a great weekend. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you. Bye.
And we will be back with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Sorry we got the late start today, but we will be back on time next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.